Now, in my conclusion, 130 years later, the government ain't talking about sending you any place. They have a plan to kill us as a people. They said to me, Farrakhan, are you saying that there's a conspiracy to kill black people? Oh, come on, Farrakhan, you're paranoid. Now, of course, many of you've been coming to the mosque for some time, maybe. But you go out among the people, look at your people, and then ask them, do you think there's a conspiracy to kill us? The white man is so smart. You don't think he's just gonna come out and say, we got a plan to kill niggers. He's a scientist. And you know what? He's so wise, he gets us to contribute to our own destruction. He makes you love money above life. Want a Gucci bag, listen. Want LA Gear sneakers. Want some kind of special jacket. More than life. No, he hasn't created any job opportunity for you, so put crack in your hand. You don't make no crack, brother. You ain't no chemist. You don't know nothing about how to do that. 80% of the chemicals used to make crack are made in the United States, sent into South America, turned into crack and sent back here for you, brother. Now they got this new thing called ice, and it will put you on ice. This is chemical warfare. You say it's a drug thing, it's chemical warfare. AIDS is biological warfare. AIDS is spreading like wildfire in prisons. They're not talking this. Men come out of jail, marry innocent women, and then the woman is carrying AIDS. I know many who have died from AIDS, brother. It's spreading like wildfire among us. They're not telling you the real truth. All you will soon see is a diminishing of your population, and you'll ask, where did the Negroes go? Here, according to the State of Black America report, there are 60,000 excess deaths every year over and above the normal death rate. That means in 10 years, 600,000 of our people would just disappear beyond the normal death rate. In 20 years, your population can shrink by 4 and 5 and 6 million people. The highest infant mortality rate is us. Dying in America worse than they're dying in third world countries. Can't you see that something is wrong? That man, Dr. Sullivan, the black brother that is fighting against the tobacco industry, I wouldn't be surprised if he's fired soon. He's sincere. He's fighting for the health of his people. The tobacco companies wanted to put a certain new brand of cigarette, and they were going to try it out in Philadelphia. But that brother raised so much sand till they backed off. He's crushing the cigarette industry. But the big money people are those that Reagan and Bush bowed to. How many of you are still smoking? You got to cut it out. Your life is at stake. I'm not trying to throw off on you. Your life is sacred. And you smoking around babies, blowing death in their nose. You smoking reefer around your children, filling your apartments full of pot, and your babies are inhaling death. But you're not thinking like that. Some of you will even blow the smoke in your baby's face because you don't know what you're doing to yourself and you don't know what you're doing to your children. You're lazy, you don't want to cook for yourself. So you buy these hastily prepared dinners and pop them in to a microwave and pop them out and pop them in yourself and wonder why you got a tumor here and a tumor there and you're dying like flies from cancer. Black men, cancer of the colon, cancer of the prostate. When did you have such disease, brother? You're being set up for death. And your own self-hatred is being used to cause us to kill each other in the name of gangs and colors. You're being set up.
Yes, sir. That's right.
And I'm telling you, you need a good shepherd. And I thank Allah with all the strength of my being for raising up among us the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Now, brothers, I know that there is no Muslim who follows the Honorable Elijah Muhammad who doesn't have deep love and respect and honor for Prophet Muhammad, through whom this Quran was revealed. But you know what? The people in the East don't know how to teach us.
That's right.
They don't, brother. Some of them, and they mean well, some of them, they think we're Muslims when they make us into their image. They say, well, we accept him because he looks like us. He dresses in our manner. That's not Islam. You don't have to convert people to Islam. Islam is the nature in which the human being is created. You don't convert him to what he is. You feed him according to his nature and he becomes himself. And that's why Jesus said, lovest thou me? Feed my sheep. You ain't got to make people into what you think would please you. They're already Muslims. They're already righteous in the nature. Feed the nature, the wisdom of God. And they'll start growing and they'll outgrow all false concepts and ideas, and you see them growing with one mind.
Yes, sir.
That's why you see Brother Farrakhan in the Christian church as much as you see me in the mosque.
Yes, sir.
And I feel just as at home in the church with my brothers and sisters as I am in the mosque. I know the expression of faith is different, but that's because of things imposed upon us. But if you go in the church and teach the people the truth, the people in the church will rise to that truth. Yes. And before you know it, the church, the mosque, the synagogue, you see people streaming out of houses of brick and stone, and they'll become one house of flesh and blood with the Spirit of God moving in them with a common denominator. So I leave you, brothers and sisters. I'm gonna fight like hell for separation.
Yes, sir.
We don't want to live under America. We want to live under God and His rule and His law. We don't want the deceitful, hypocritical, filthy, low-down politics of this world. But the more popular God blesses me to be, I intend to turn that popularity into tangible factors of power, which can only be so when the people are economically and politically mature. And we will vote in those whose ideas are for the advancement of our people, and we will tear down those Uncle Tom handkerchief head niggas that don't mean us no good. We want to work this year like we never worked before to increase the ranks of the nation. Not that all our people have to be Muslims, but they must understand that we are one nation. And in that nation, there are Christians, there are Muslims, there are Hebrews, there are those who don't believe in God at all. There are nationalists, there are Pan-Africanists, but it's one nation. One nation. And we must speak with one voice, not speaking for some narrow segment of the population who believe such and so and thus and so. But we got to speak, Brother Khalid, for all our people, no matter who they are, where they are, what they are. We must be their champion.
Yes, sir.
When Master Farad Muhammad was among us, he asked the question, how many Muslims are there in North America? And the answer was a little over 17 million at that time. And the question was asked, did I hear you say that some of the 17 million do not know that they are Muslim? Yes, sir. Well, I can hardly believe that unless they are blind, deaf, and dumb. Well, they were made blind, deaf, and dumb by the devil when they were babies. Oh, that's the answer. Defend your people. Defend them. With all the truth that you know, defend your people. Even in their apparent wrong, I say, defend your people. Never take the white man's side. Never Never take the white man's side against your people. Never take his side. Never take the white man's side against your people. Never take his side. Even if it appears that our brother is wrong, don't take the side of the enemy. You see one of your brothers switching down the street, and some white man says, "Look at that sissy." Don't you say, "Yeah, look at that sissy." You say, probably if he hadn't met your fathers, he wouldn't be that way. If they say, "Look at that nigger snatching pocketbooks," say, yeah, maybe if he had the right kind of education and a job opportunity, he wouldn't have to snatch no pocketbook. Like when we were at the Washington Post, they asked me about Mayor Barry. Tried to put me in a trick. Farrakhan, you've been married to one woman for 36 years. An upstanding and righteous charactered man. Do you think that a womanizer and a dope user should hold a political office? I said, are you speaking about John Kennedy? He was a womanizer, trashed the White House with orgies. The press knew it. He was a drunkard. They knew it. They partied so hard in the Blair House and in other houses, turned them into whorehouses. They got the damn nerve to talk about some black man who is weak and sick. I'll take Mayor Barry off in the corner and smack the hell out of him, but never would I make the enemy think that I'm an enemy of my brother. I said, Mayor Barry is not the culprit. I said, we're living in a drug culture. It's pervasive. I hardly got the words out of my mouth. I said, we can't even ride on the trains. We can't ride on buses. We can't get on planes anymore because the people in the air traffic control are coked up. The pilot is coked up. The engineer on the train is coked up. The truck drivers on the highway coked up. The bus drivers coked up. Innocent people getting on transportation and end up dead because people are coked up. Right. Tell it. I said, some of you sitting around this table. Can't tell me you've been faithful to your wives and your husbands. I don't see no holy people in here. But don't you think we ought to hold our leaders to a higher standard? Yeah, if you're willing to hold yourself to a higher standard. Your leaders can't be no more than what you are. They represent you. You got a druggie for leaders because you got a drugged up community. Never take the enemy's side. I defend black people. Bring me a murderer on death row, I can get him off. Because I know he wouldn't be none of that if he were taught right from the beginning. A man fall in love with his woman. When a man loves a woman, he loves her hard. When a woman loves a man, they love complete. You know how they feel? Come home and find somebody else in their bed, and they go where the gun is kept. It's passion. It's hurt. It's pain. You're playing with each other. But if we learn to live like God wants us to live, we can avoid all of those traps and pitfalls. So, beloved, stand up for each other.
Yes, sir.
Be a defender of each other. In right, when we are wrong, we have to correct each other, but never take the enemy's side. I don't like the fact if some black brothers raped a white woman and killed her. I don't take no joy in that. But white people can hold up the white woman that got raped. But we're all confused as to whether Tawana or Sister Mariam was actually raped. Why would a young 15-year-old girl come home and tell her mother that 6 white men raped her? Crawl up into a plastic bag, put feces, dog feces, all over herself. Crawl up into a plastic bag and close it. And when she was found, she was in trauma. It took a long time to get her blood pressure and her heartbeat back to normal. And they tried in that hospital to destroy every shred of evidence.
Right.
In fact, they tried to kill her.
That's right.
But of course, that's not true. She was lying. From the white side, black women can't be raped. You all asked for it. Defend your people.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's why Brother Khalid is loved by black people. And that's why I'm loved by black people.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I have not one time taken the wrong side. They beat up on Judge Alcee Hastings.
That's right. That's right.
I stand up for Judge
Yes, sir.
Alcee.
That's right.
They beat up on Nasi Asiel Ben Israel.
That's right.
I stand up for
Yes,
my
that's
brother.
right.
They beat up on Reverend Pastor T.L. Barrett. I stand with T.L. join the enemy. Never. I got a problem with Reverend Jackson, but I'll never join the enemy against my brother. Never. Whether Jesse is right or wrong, you don't join the enemy. You want to condemn Jesse, you do that. But when the white man put his mouth on Jesse, you stand up and say, hold it, just a minute. Because they ain't got no right saying nothing when they put us in this condition. Give you a slave mentality, then condemn you for having one? No. I'll condemn the Tom, but the cracker that made him a Tom, shut your mouth. So, the last bit of counsel I'd like to give us. Allah, God, wants to raise us up to great eminence. I thank him. I know, brothers and sisters, that I'm nothing to speak of. I know that. I know that whatever I am, he made me. I can of myself do nothing. I'm insignificant, unimportant except as I relate to him who is significant and all important. Please listen. In order for God to exalt us, we must humble ourselves and recognize his exalted state. Each one of us has a gift. And when you use that gift, you use it to make your way in this world. You use it to gain acceptance. You use it and you get honor and praise for something that you did not give yourself, for something that you had no power to give nor any power to evolve. You got none of that. So when the giver of gifts gives you something that causes men and women to praise and honor you, that is your and my biggest trial. We must be able from the depth of the soul to say what is the first verse of this holy Quran. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Praise belongs to God, the Lord, nourisher and sustainer of all of the worlds, of everything in existence.